Hi, I'm Jesse Patrick, and I am the founder of Master Scholars Tutoring Test Prep. And I'm here today to talk to you about a few different things. I'm going to talk to you about myself in this video, but also you'll see in later videos, I'm going to talk about the SAT, the new SAT, and I'm going to talk about my new live online SAT class. So I have a lot of really cool things to talk about, but as I said, I'm going to start today talking about myself. As you can see here, I have an itinerary up if you'd like to kind of get an idea of what we're going to be going over. But if you're looking at this from my website, you should be able to kind of see the progression of the videos that I'm doing here. But again, I do advise you go through every video if you're really interested in getting SAT prep or ACT prep or private tutoring from Master Scholars. Again, I do recommend going through this video because it really shows you a lot about my company. So I'm going to go ahead and get started talking about myself, and then I'll talk about my company, my team, and things like that. So right now, I am currently the Dean of Students at Greenwood Lakes, and this is in Lake Mary, Florida. I also was a teacher at Lyman High School for 9 years. I got my bachelor's degree from UCF, and then I got my master's degree from American College of Education. My bachelor's is in math education, and my master's is in educational leadership. So what I wanted to do is just kind of give you a background of how I got to where I am today, SAT-wise. I can talk about lots of different things, but let's focus on the SAT. So what happened when I was at UCF, I was working on my bachelor's in teaching, and I never taught, really. I mean, I helped students. I had worked in a math lab before, but I never really was teaching a class. So what I did is I applied for a job at Princeton Review. Now the funny thing about Princeton Review and the job was that I actually at that point in time had never taken an SAT. I took the ACT when I was in high school. So I didn't really know much about the test, but what I did is I did, as part of my interview, I would do like a 90-second lesson on anything that I wanted. So I did a 90-second lesson on math. And they said, you're hired, which is great. And then I went to 2 weekends of training, and then I was teaching a class. Now, the problem that I had was the fact that I never taught. So there's a lot of things that I really didn't know about teaching. And also, I didn't really know much about the SAT. I mean, yeah, I went to a training. We did go over everything, but it was in 2 weekends. It was a lot of information to try to take in. And if you're going to be a teacher on something, you need to be the expert. I was not the expert. They were paying me about $13 an hour to teach a class. The students are paying $1,000 to take. So really, when you kind of look back at it, it was just basically a situation where I feel the company was taking money from students by hiring subpar teachers. And again, some were great. I actually there's one person I worked with that became a college professor and has just got her doctorate. But at the same time, there really almost anyone who knew how to teach a 90-second lesson could get a job in Princeton Review, and that was kind of scary. It's not about just being smart; it's also about knowing how to teach. And not everyone who's smart knows how to teach. So anyway, I'll talk about that a little bit more because that helped develop my philosophy for Master Scholars. But I got started there. Now, I probably wasn't the best tutor that first week, that first time teaching. But one thing that I have done is ever since that day, I've almost dedicated. It's kind of weird. I've almost dedicated my life to the SAT. I've written 2 books on the test. I've also, I tutor. I built a program at Lyman High School. So those are some of the things I've been doing since then. So again, what happened, starting with the program I built at Lyman, when I started there, they had an SAT prep class, but it really wasn't an SAT prep class. What it was is students would come in, sit on a computer, and work some problems out. There was really no developed curriculum for the course. So I took that class, which had about 15 students in it, and I built it to 180 students over my time there. I also was able to we had a record number of national merit qualifiers at our school. I was able to build summer programs, and during the year we had certain boost camps and things like that. We did some practice tests. I built a huge program at that school, which at the beginning we really had nothing. And this this job of mine that I had is what really developed the company that I have today, because that class had no curriculum, so I had to develop it myself. And that meant that it was literally my job to know the SAT inside and out, because not only did I have to know it, but I had to write the curriculum for it. So that's where my first book came out. So the first book that I wrote is this blue one right here. This is going to be the book for the old SAT, because the SAT has changed. That's why I have a second book in gray. This is the one I use currently for all my SAT classes. This is the second version of the SAT student workbook for the new test. So again, in 2011, this is when I really got this book done and published, and that's again around the same time I started my company. So even though I started my company in 2011, I've been doing the SAT all the time from probably around 2005. So I have 10, 11 years experience of in the SAT, and again, what I've done is I've developed everything from scratch using the things that I've learned in my past experiences, but also developing things that I've kind of, obviously taught myself as I was writing the test. I would notice trends, and then I'd say, wow, there's a certain strategy I can use for this problem. And these are things and skills I've used from my teaching days to help students. And one of the things I really enjoy doing, which is just exciting, I spend all this time studying the SAT, so the student doesn't have to. So what I'm able to do is I'm going into a class, I'm teaching a class, I can tell students, I've already done this work. You're going to see these types of problems. Every single one of these problems can be solved this one way. Yeah, you might have 2, 3 different ways that you could solve it, but I'm going to show you the one way that I know will work, because I've already done the grunt work to kind of get these strategies in place. And I really enjoy simplifying the test for students. You have to put in the work to be able to do that, and that's exactly what I've done. So what I've done when I started my company is I kind of created this philosophy. I've kind of already talked about it a little bit, but the philosophy that I had was, Master Scholars, we are real teachers teaching. And what that means is that we're teachers. It's not just about finding somebody who is smart. That's important. You can't teach something that you don't know and that you're not an expert at. But you also need to be able to teach it. So, somebody can be really smart, but that doesn't mean they can teach. They don't understand the struggles that students go through. Well, for example, for me, from my years of teaching, I know exactly what types of issues students have. Typically, they don't even have to ask. I still let students lead my classes, but I also tend to know what types of issues are going to arise, and I make sure I try to hit those issues the first time through, not after they ask. And again, that's something that it takes experience, and you have to understand that sometimes when you solve a problem one way, some students may not learn that way. So you have to show other routes to get to that same solution. So that's why I teach certain strategies. I say, okay, this is the way we need to solve this problem, but if you're having a hard time with that, I have some alternate strategies you can apply to these questions. And that's just something you learn as you teach. So I want to make sure that anyone I bring in is somebody that is an expert in their field, and they are teachers. So for instance, when I got my Princeton Review job, I was a math person, and again, it helped me in the end become a better English person. But at the time, they had me teaching English and math sections of the SAT, and I was a math expert, which was scary. So what you'll see here is I have a team of tutors, but they're broken up as English and math tutors. Our English tutors are Chelsea St. Clair, Robert Hovel. Chelsea St. Clair teaches AP Language Arts at Lake Howell High School. She's also former Teacher of the Year at Lake Howell. Robert Hovel teaches Standard and Honors Reading at Lyman High School. And guess what? They teach the English portion of the test. I also have our math people. We have Kendra Simmons. She teaches math, Algebra 2 at Lyman High School. And then you have me, Jesse Patrick. I taught math at Lyman High School for 9 years and built the SAT program there. Now, again, I'm the one person who will jump back and forth. Again, based off the experience that I've had and developing the curriculum from scratch, I've now gained that experience in English. Again, there's a lot of things that I had to learn, 11 years ago when I got started. But again, ever since then, it's in a weird way, I've dedicated my life to the SAT. And, in a weird way, I enjoy it. I enjoy the test, but it's really not the test. I mean, I will tell students I enjoy the test. It's not that I enjoy the test. I enjoy being able to share my knowledge with other students. And that's what gets me excited, to help students become successful. You get into teaching to help students. And this gives me more joy than almost any job that I could ever have. So I enjoy helping students, and because the SAT is such an important part of their lives, it's something I really enjoy helping them with. So again, that's me. That's who I am. Again, and I say this all the time. When it comes to a tutoring program, I try to give you one example of why I feel the way that I feel. But you have two different types of SAT programs. You have your small programs and your big programs. I consider myself a small program. I just have a small team of tutors. And then you get your big programs like, when I was at Princeton Review. When I was at Princeton Review, they were hiring people left and right all over the country. You don't really know who you're getting if you take a class with a big company. And that's kind of scary, when you're spending, 500, 1,000. Some of these classes are $5,000 that you can take, and you don't know who you're getting. If you're going to spend that kind of money on an SAT program, it's important that you know exactly who you're getting. And the smaller companies are built by people who have a passion for the test. There are not very many people like me out there, but there are other people like me. And those people love the SAT. They love teaching the SAT to their students. If you get a big company, you don't know who you're getting. So my advice to you, if you're trying, hopefully you want to go with me, but even if you didn't, go with a small company. Don't pick a big one. Okay, there's a big difference between the two. The big companies have all the material, but if you don't have the right person to teach that material, it's a waste. The small companies are built off their reputation. My business grows based off people recommending me to others. So if I don't do a good job, my business doesn't grow. So I have a personal stake in the success of your child. If I work for Princeton Review or another big company, I don't have that same personal stake. I'm just there to earn a couple bucks, and that's about it. I'm not going to spend my weekends outside of class studying the test for fun. I don't do that if I'm getting $13 an hour, working 2-3 hours a week. It just doesn't work that way. So small companies are better, big companies not so much. In this industry, the smaller the better. Okay, so hopefully take that advice to heart. Again, if you have any questions for me, visit my website. You can email me. You can even call me or send me a text. I don't care. If you have a question, let me know. And hopefully you'll see my other videos. Just go ahead and check my website out if you're not already there, and see what other videos I have on the SAT, and myself and my company.